and welcome wherever you are. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. We're going to be looking at technical profiles again to make this as relevant to you as possible. We're going to be looking at technical profiles that you could use on LinkedIn or that you could use on a CV to move your career forward. Today, we're going to be looking at profiles of a data analyst. So we're going to be sharing how you should present your technical profile if you're a data analyst. This applies entry-level data analyst, senior data analyst, possibly even lead data analyst. In all those roles, you do need a technical profile. You may need this technical profile for a promotion. You may want this technical profile for your next application. You may want that technical profile to be able to communicate better within your company. There are many reasons to have a clear technical profile that helps you communicate who you are professionally and what it is that you achieve in your role. So today it is data analyst. I'm saying data analyst, and this means, for example, that the profiles that we're looking at today are not data scientist or machine learning engineer or something else, which is why I'm showing you this slide about which data role is for you. So today is technical profiles for the data analyst. And then, of course, what we're going to be looking at today applies also to other roles. So you can actually not one-to-one transfer because your technical profile is different. But you can actually use this information or stuff, even if you're in a different technical role, to kind of build the equivalent for you in whatever role you are. So hello and welcome. We're running this event on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you have any questions or any comments or would like to provide any feedback, some of you have made themselves known on LinkedIn, please just use the chat function. Whatever you use, I will actually pick up and feed into what we're doing today. So what we're doing today is also based on data, on experience. The experience that I'm using or sharing is the experience of the AI Guild, and it's more than 1,800 members that are specialists in everything from data analytics to ML ops, and where we've been doing a lot of career support, a lot of career work with people, and have built actually technical profiles. So I'm going to use examples to show you what we're talking about. So why a technical profile? What's the whole point of this? Why should you have one? The technical profile isn't actually for you. It's for everybody else. And it allows the reader to understand your role, skills, and competency level at a glance. So this really is essential. It's for the reader, and it allows your reader to get things at a glance. Your reader may be a manager, client, or recruiter. Your profile needs to be dense and clear because your reader will make an initial judgment in 60 seconds or less. Okay, so the classic case, of course, is an application. And human resources, a hiring manager, a recruiter, something like this. In a company's ideal scenario, they're advertising a new position, say for a senior data analyst. And of course, they want 100 applications and they want to choose only one person. And if they're lucky, they get 100 applications. And then, of course, they need to scan those. And the first thing they will look at is the technical profile to understand whether there's, principally speaking, a match, right? And then the initial assessment has to be relatively fast because you're looking at 100 profiles and you need to whittle it down to the 20 people that you want to talk to. So this is where it needs to be for the reader, it needs to work at a glance, and it needs to work in 60 seconds. I think this is also true inside a company. So say you are wanting to make a move up, or you are wanting to find better projects, or there's something you would like to achieve where you are at the moment, or you're freelancing, you have clients. It's the same thing. You're starting a conversation, you want to talk about your technical profile, you want to talk about a promotion, you want to talk about training that you would like to have, or some sort of professional development, or you want to persuade your client that you're the right person. You have 1 minute, first impression, something like this to make your case and to elicit a response from the other side that says, I'm interested. And this is actually true, whether you're dealing with a recruiter, a client, a manager, whatever, you have this initial few seconds where somebody needs to kind of respond and say, okay, let me go and look at this. So this is the point of the technical profile. It really needs to work very fast. And now I've said my introductory piece, and I'm going to show you the first example. So what is it that you see? What you see here is a technical profile where it actually says technical skills at the top. And then as you look at it, you perhaps see that it says data acquisition and instrumentation, it says data processing, and then it says data science. So what's going on here? What's going on here is that you're using a few key concepts to guide the attention of your reader, right? So for example, it says here data acquisition and data processing and then data science, but it doesn't, for example, say visualization. It also doesn't use as a key concept dashboard. So maybe this is what you're doing. You're a data analyst that is really strong on visualization and dashboarding. Then this would be a key concept. This person here wants to say that they're really actually good at acquisition and processing, and that in their analyst roles, there are also things they can do around machine learning, at least, so to speak, some of the basic stuff that needs to be done there. So if you then go in, I'm now going to go into the line around data science. It says linear regression, model fitting, feature engineering, clustering, dimensionality reduction, and so on. So you actually see that these are some of the basics of data science that this data analyst also can do. And then above that, under data processing, for example, it says web scraping, database, API, ETL, okay, data normalization, descriptive analytics. So the point is, you give key concepts, you substantiate those key concepts by showing skills that you have, tasks that you've done, methods that you use, and you're relatively specific about them. So I think the point here is that you do not need to be all comprehensive. It doesn't need to list every skill under the sun that is relevant, but rather the skills that you have, the methods that you use, your specific profile. So this isn't about the universe, it's about you at that moment and your technical skills and your level of competency, which is why it says at the top, 5+ years, Python, shell scripting, GNU Linux, SQL, and so on. And then actually for SQL, it says 2022, so it indicates that this is a newly acquired skill. But this is the point. So I was speaking about the fact that it needs to work at a glance. So I understand that this data analyst is actually relatively strong towards the data acquisition and processing, or the pipelining, and the data science skills that come with it in terms of pipelining and then modeling actually are complementary. So they fit together. So I actually have a data analyst here that is not working in business intelligence, but a data analyst that is kind of working in a data science team or a machine learning team, but on the side where you're doing the data processing and the initial tasks that need to be done to get a model into production. Okay, so on that type of data analyst. So you can see here the specific role that this describes. So to take a step back for you, data role. Whatever key concepts, programming language, methods, and tools you mention, it must be clear at a glance what your data role is, the data analyst, ML engineer, and then also actually coming with that, what type of data analyst you are, what your specific experience is. As I mentioned, so it was clear that this data analyst was working somewhere where you have to deal with pipelines and models, and not so much with dashboarding and visualization tools. Yeah, so they weren't actually even mentioned. Second example follows the same kind of structure, but now, for example, includes data visualization, so technical skills again. And then if you drop to the bottom of this list, it says data visualization, and then it says dashboard, plotting, 2D and 3D drawings. So now we have visualization, but for example, it doesn't actually mention a specific software or some of the vendors that you could use when you do visualization. It says dashboard, plotting, and drawings, okay? So these are more generic analytic skills, and above that, it actually says data processing and data analysis. And then for data analysis, it gets more specific and it says, for example, scripting or Jupyter notebooks, classification, linear regression, causal inference, reproducibility. So data analytics skills, but here under data analysis in a more general kind of way, not particular software tools, but sort of general kind of ways that you mean that you could do, for example, data analysis on raw data. And that you could do data analysis on raw data that are meant for pipelines that go into machine learning, for example. And then it says data processing, and for that it says secure shell protocol, so SSP, which is around high performance computing, benchmark performance per project, again, high performance computing, and formula calculation, normalization, and averages. So dealing with data in a particular kind of way to make them usable, to make them suitable for other tasks that you want to accomplish with that data. So as a data analyst, you also make visible your domain expertise and the specialization, okay? The data processing, the visualization, the pipeline, and then analytics. And this actually works for you, right? So just like specializations are emerging around, are you more of a data analyst or more a data scientist or more of an NLP person? Even within those roles around data analyst, it becomes increasingly relevant what your particular focus is in that role. So do you handle raw data? Are you more in the business intelligence side? Are you an expert for a particular software tool provided by a vendor for which you can now get certification or something like this? Yeah. So it what exactly is it that you have there? And then not so visible here on the technical skills because that would be somewhere else on your LinkedIn profile or your CV. What domain are you in terms of type of industry? Are you in e-commerce? Are you in automotive? Are you in health? Are you finance? What is it? But this becomes increasingly, this specialization is the governing trend, I think, of now and also the next 5 years. So that really matters. So actually on to another example around this. Again, you see technical skills. Now you see ETL pipelines, data processing, and DevOps. Okay, so this slants it yet again in a particular kind of direction. Somebody here, ETL pipelines in terms of a data analyst that has been used to handling terabytes of data, that has built pipelines, that actually has a particular kind of data, so time series files. Okay, so that's relevant information. Then data processing. What does that mean? What am I doing there? Yeah, what are significant stuff that I've achieved? So somebody's been working here on data processing and has actually in the processing itself achieved some methodological improvement in what they were doing. And then this profile has a DevOps twist to it. This is particularly relevant in a context where companies are looking to productionize this stuff. So you're not just dealing with data analytics as in reporting and you write long reports, possibly in a Word document that you PDF, maybe in dashboard tools or maybe by using particular software. So that's one way of doing it. But there's also the analytics that actually goes towards building a data infrastructure that is at the same time suitable for machine learning. So then this DevOps part of the profile becomes a lot more relevant. And this is what you see here. And then let me highlight for you again that at the top, it says kind of like 4 years of Python, 2 years of Bash and C++, and you are R and SQL in this case. So that is then also about the competency level. So profile at a glance means your reader wants to know what they're looking at fast through key concepts that are substantiated by particular tools or methods that you use, maybe also the Python libraries you most frequently use, or the R libraries that you most frequently use, and maybe even the type of SQL that you're doing. So, there are variants of this. So, the specificity here is important. And then they also want to have a quick appreciation of your competency level. So they want to know your level immediately. Yeah, are you a senior or a lead? How many years of experience that you have? And can be part of your LinkedIn. So if you maybe you have the job site title already of senior data analyst, and then of course it's on your CV and on your LinkedIn. If you don't have that, nevertheless, you could, for example, if you're applying for a new role, say on your CV, I'm a senior data analyst with, and then here comes how many years of experience? I'm a senior data analyst with 5 years of experience in Python and SQL and using Tableau or Power BI or whatever kind of tool you might be using, for example, that substantiates your claim to be a senior or to have the capacity for a lead. And now I'm talking about actually, finding your next challenge, because obviously when you are finding your next challenge and perhaps switching companies, then it does actually matter whether this includes a promotion or the potential for a promotion, in the sense of having been promised that within X months, 6 months, 12 months, you will be promised promoted to senior or lead, might be part of the deal. And then indeed your competency level matters. In your competency level matters to the degree that somebody, if they're looking to hire a senior or a lead, need to understand right away whether your technical profile actually has that level already or has the potential for that level very soon. So you need to indicate not just the breadth and depth of your skills, but also how long you've been doing it. And this is the hardest part. So over the years, I've found that the simplest way of doing this is by stating how many years you've been using something regularly. And think of it like this. So maybe the first time you used Python, we are in 2022. So the first time is 2017. Does that give you 5+ years of Python? Yes, maybe. But maybe your first 2 years of Python, you were kind of like an intermittent user. You learned some of it, you did some capstone projects, then you did something else again in your life, and then you returned to it a year later, but you kept learning it over time. Okay, then how do I indicate it so that it's accurate, and that if the other side queries you on it, you can substantiate your claim to X amount of experience and competency level? Think of it like this. So if you look backwards, for how many years or how many months do you think you can say that you've been a regular user? Now, regular user is an ambiguous term, but I think you yourself will have a good feeling. So regular user means that you have actually been using it something like perhaps not every day, but every week. Regular user, okay? And then if there were gaps in your regular usage, discount them, so take them out. And then nevertheless, you add up, you can sort of add it up and then say, I have 2+ years or 3+ years or 4+ years of experience with this. And that way, I think you're accurate. And if somebody then really pushes you and you start telling your story, the first time I used Python was in 2017, but actually the first 2 years I was using it intermittently, but since 2019, I've been using it regularly. And by regularly meaning I have done it every week, or whatever it is that you can then claim, and then kind of adds up, and when queried, you can substantiate it. And it also, if you get pulled in for technical testing or whatever, your competency level, then in your technical testing matches what it is that you claim there. So the plea from my side is, when you look at your technical profiles, what you do need to do is you do want to capture the reader's attention. Okay? What you don't want to do is overpromise or be known for exaggerating or for being inaccurate. So it does actually really need to be accurate, but you do also want to sell yourself. And the best way of doing that is actually by being specific. So something that I keep seeing to this day is that people are tempted to provide a long list of all kinds of tools, libraries, capabilities, methods. And basically, sometimes I get the impression kind of like everything under the sun that I've ever touched. No, be specific. Actually, the shorter your list, often the better, because it is much more credible that these are the things that you really know how to do. Not just know about, but know how to do. So there you go. I'm going to pick up the first question here by Sagar. Should the technical profile be part of the resume or a separate document? So that's the thing. The technical profile is part of your resume in many senses. So first of all, get your technical profile right. And then actually on LinkedIn, you have an about section. And I do recommend sticking it in your about section. Yeah. Particularly if you're looking for your next challenge, it needs to be there. It helps you to have much more meaningful conversations right away. Now, if it's not yet been in your about section and you're employed and you're not actually thinking of changing your employer, then sometimes employers notice when you kind of improve your LinkedIn profile, and then this raises eyebrows or gives rise to question. Yes, I know. So you need to get into the habit of repeatedly or gradually improving your LinkedIn profile, and don't be shy about it. So colleagues in your company will also look at your LinkedIn profile to see who you are and understand your background. And we now do actually repeatedly look at that. So put it there, because it's not just for applications, it's also for other people in your company that want to quickly understand where you are. They will often also go to LinkedIn, unless your company has a really great internal database where people can look you up. Yeah, but otherwise, I think this is legitimate to do and should be done because it helps you to have more meaningful conversations. So it's on your LinkedIn in the about section. And yes, it's part of your CV. So the way I like to think of it is that it actually comes at the top of your CV. So at the very top, of course, is your name and your mission statement and your phone number. But right below it, before your professional experience, is your technical skills. Why? Because it's this thing that people look at first, right? So I'm looking to fill a data role. Yes, it's great if you were working at employers that I know, and it's nice if you have a university degree from a university that I know. But really, what matters is the technical skills. That's why they go right at the top of your CV. And they are the things that anybody would glance at first and make this initial assessment that is actually a yes or no decision. And the yes is, I'm interested, let me look at the rest. Right? This is what you want to get to. And a well done technical skills section exactly gets you that. It gets you the attention of whoever is looking at it. Yeah, your manager or a recruiter or your client. That is what it's there for. Now, I've spoken about this need to indicate your proficiency. So I spoke about the year thing. Another way of doing it, just to show you, is you could use a dot scheme. It's also a possibility if you use some sort of dot scheme or I've seen people use a bar scheme. So before you use a bar scheme, please use a dot scheme. And if you do that, make it simple. So I'm showing you here a scheme with just 3 dots, and that's the point. If you're trying to use a bar scheme or a slider scheme or a dot scheme with 5 or 7 dots, this is way too much visual information to take in accurately. This is much simpler. So 3 dots means you're fully proficient, and 2 dots means you're good, and 1 dot means you're learning. Okay, then you can look at it and say, everything where you have 2 or 3 dots goes on your CV or your LinkedIn. Everything where you have only 1 dot doesn't matter, so you can leave it out. And 2 or 3 dots is something, as if I were a recruiter, that I can take in fast. Okay, you give me 7 dots, bars, sliders, or something like this, it gets confusing. Even worse, you give me that and you don't just include your technical skills, but suddenly I read something about German and Hindi and English and operating systems and a jumble of information. It gets really bad. So keep it simple to make it stick and to get the attention of whomever you need attention. Here is a simple visual way of doing that, something that worked, got the person a data analyst role. So it can be that simple and still work. Okay. I'm kind of done with what I would like to say about the technical profile for data analysts. Also, our 25 minutes for today are over. Any final questions that I can answer for today? If so, please let me know through the chat and I'll pick them up. Otherwise, I would like to point out in closing that you can go and find a publication called Fluent in Data on medium.com. And on medium.com, you will get a new article around data career that looks at specific roles and how to be better in them, how to get promoted, and so on and so on. Every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Central European Time, a new piece comes out to start off your week, if you so like, while you're transiting to work, you can go and have a look at it. So go and find Fluent in Data on Medium and subscribe if you like, and benefit from getting something new and interesting every Monday. And then the final thing to those particularly who are joining us on LinkedIn, if you're interested in the AI Guild, this is the experience that this comes from. You can go and find the AI Guild page on LinkedIn. And if you like, you can also become a member of the AI Guild if you're not yet. So it says here, you can join as a member via sign up below. So please find the AI Guild page on LinkedIn. And if you're interested, sign up and become a member and join the 1,800 plus members of the AI Guild. Okay, then enjoy the rest of your Friday. We're back next Friday, same time, and have a great